All right. So, good morning, everyone. I am excited to be here with Shelly. We are going to share a little bit about duplication and specifically the mindset things that we personally have struggled with and that we think are pretty common for a lot of people. So, I'm going to start and we're going to hear from Shelly. So, Shelly, what is, say, the biggest mindset struggle you have had when it comes to duplication?
I think the biggest struggle I had is when I began, I had not been on social media ever. And I had a fairly busy career. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. And I had this narrative that everybody knows more than me. And I was afraid. And some of the people that I really wanted to reach out to, or that even joined my team, they knew so much more than me. I remember when this one gal asked me how many I see something were in probiotic, and I didn't even know what that meant. She's like, why do your probiotics have less blah, blah, blah? And I was like, I can't do this. I can't get people to do this with me because I know nothing. And that froze me up for a long time. Do you have any advice for that or thoughts on that?
Well, actually, as you were talking, it brought to mind a picture of some of us when we were hanging out in Las Vegas, right? So it's kind of like you're in a place like your Plexus, you've joined Plexus, you have some people with you. So we were there, we had friends, we wanted to go to a restaurant. Sounded great, but none of us knew how to get there, right? And if we're standing in a group, I might just ask like, hey, who wants to go to this restaurant? Not everybody's going to want to come, right? But we end up with some of us who want to go to the same place. Nobody knows how to get there. Here's the thing with the leader. If nobody steps up and does something, we'll never go anywhere. We will stand there forever talking. I'm sure you've been in that place. But it might just take one of us, like me looking at my phone and like plugging it in the GPS. And now I see how to get there. And because I've taken that action to get the directions and I'm like, hey guys, come with me. That's really all it is. And is our business is there's directions, right? We all have trainings and we know what to do. If you're willing to say, hey guys, we're going together here. I know how to get there. Do you want to come with me? And you literally start walking together. And that's all it is. Like I had never been to that restaurant. None of us knew Vegas, but it was just literally somebody stepping up and saying, I'll look it up and I'll go first. And you know what? Sometimes you make mistakes. You're like looking at your map wrong. You take a wrong turn. Sometimes as the leader, you do, and everybody knows you made a mistake, but you still can go forward and get there. And the other thing that just comes up when I think about this is like, sometimes we want to wait for somebody else who knows the way or who's going faster. We're like, these people are walking slowly and they don't know, like, I want to get like somebody in shape who's like running really fast. And the thing is, if you wait around, you might wait around a long time and they might run right past you. You know, when you're moving and you're like, let's just figure out how to get there. And it's okay if we take a wrong turn, but it's literally as simple as like picking up your phone, figuring out directions and starting to follow them. And there has to like none of that other stuff is involved. If you're like, I can follow directions and go first, in doing some of the basic business steps, which are in this chat, by the way, then like, that's it. It's really that simple. Like you just pick it up and go first. So does that like make sense for you?
Yes, that is so helpful because you said it right. We don't have to know it all. We just have to be willing to go first and bring people and show them the way. And I totally love that. So what would you say your biggest mindset issue with duplication is?
So my biggest thing is that I keep telling myself nobody actually wants to do this business, right? It can be as simple as I hear somebody say, oh yeah, when you sign up a customer, make sure you drop this. And I sign up a customer and then my mind comes up like I'm bothering them. They don't want it. It's rude to like push this on them. And so I stay silent and that really prevents me from duplicating.
So that's interesting too, because what I thought of is what I said yesterday, we're pre-deciding for people, right? So when we say that, we're making the decision that they probably wouldn't want it. And one of the things, two stories popped to my mind. There was some diamond, I don't remember, but in the diamond series we did in, I think February or March, this one gal said that her next door, I think it was her next door neighbor. So her and her sister did it. And she never talked to her next door neighbor about the business. Her next door neighbor signed up with her, with someone else and went diamond. And when she asked her about it, she said, I just thought it was your thing. I didn't know that doing this with you was an option, right? And I think that's the thing. A lot of people don't know it's an option. So after I heard that, I talked to one of my neighbors who takes Plexus with me, and I said, like, did you want to get your products paid for? And she thought, you seem like you have a degree or knowledge. And I thought, I could never do this, right? So we freak ourselves out with the thought that people don't want this, and some people don't want it, but a lot of people don't even know it's an option, right? The other thing I think of is, we talk about drip dropping on people, and I really don't think we fully know what this means. And the first time you mention it to someone, they're probably going to say no. And what happens is, in our mind, is this: I'm going to ask them, they say no, we freak out, and we're like, people don't want this. But it's actually not pushy, and it's not rude. It's like you go to Costco and they say, do you want to upgrade your membership? Or I'll use WestJet because I was just flying, and people kept saying, do you want this membership? Do you want this membership? And I just said no, because I was like, I don't want to have all the bells and whistles. And I looked into it. I'm like, it's a free membership. I get free baggage. If I would have signed up, it would have benefited me the first time. I just didn't understand it. I didn't have enough knowledge, and I didn't know that it was actually a really good option to get the WestJet MasterCard or to be the WestJet member. I just didn't know. And when someone explained it to me, it was actually Trina. Thanks, Trina. Explained it well to me. I went, this actually makes like a lot of sense. So I think we have to take the drama out when people say no. And if they say no to us, maybe we haven't given them the right information, or maybe they're just not ready. And with time and consistency, they're probably going to be ready. But what happens in our mindset is we take one no, and again, we shut it down and we say, we don't want to do this. I think lots of people want extra money. They might not want to work full time like we are, but they want the extra money. They just don't know that they do because we haven't explained it well. So I think we need to continue to ask people. We need to continue to focus on mindset around this. And we have to ask ourselves, is it actually they that don't want it, or is it us that's holding it back? Any other thoughts, Rachel? I know you have a little gal there who seems to really want to be on this. Hey.
I don't know if you're going to hear me over the noise.
All right, well, maybe we'll shut it down for there now. We just want to say that duplication, it doesn't have to be hard, right? Duplication is about meeting people where they're at. And I think this is when it's spammy. And I think Rachel had a good point. We don't want to push it on people. And when we push it on people and we tell them they have to do it, or we devalue them, or we say, we're only going to be in this with you if you do the way our way, that's when it's awful. But if we're genuinely offering to help and they genuinely say no, and we continue to give them a good customer experience, we can remind them. I let my people know, I love you so much that every month I'm going to remind you that I want you to do this with me. And I remind them every month. And a lot of people are starting to say yes, because they're like, you see something in me. I'm like, I do, right? So tell people the genuine things you see in them. Tell them why you want them on their team, and take away the drama and figure out, why are you struggling with duplication? Is it because you think you don't know? Is it because you're afraid to ask people? Have you pre-decided? Have you prejudged? Or do you have drama because of your story when you started? And that could probably be a whole different one. So any other last thoughts, Rachel?
Yeah, I love that. I just think it's true that when you say those things, I realize how much just none of it is true. Like, I'm not pushy and I'm not offensive, and I'm actually honoring people by singling them out and like speaking into that. And that is my heart. So when I flip that, I want to speak to people, and I want to just bless them with the so many good options with Plexus. And yeah, it's very powerful. So thank you for sharing that.
And we'll do one quick thing here. Rachel, if you reach out for a business builder and they say no, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, absolute worst case scenario.
The worst case scenario is they never talk about that again, or they tell me, please don't ask me again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, right. It's really not life-changing. So you're like, oh, okay, I'm still fine, actually. And this person and I are still fine.
And that happened to me recently. I totally misread this lady. I was friends with her, and I'm like, and she was into all the same stuff I was. And so I asked her, and she's like, I think you misunderstood me. I do gut health, but I do it naturally because I do all my own herbs. And she's like, I have bad vibes with Plexus, and I will never do a company, like never. And I just said, you know what? Calm down. It's all good. We're still friends. It's no big deal. The next time I saw her, I was intentional to go over to spend a lot of quality time, talk to her about everything about Plexus. We never bring Plexus up, but I know she's watching me, and that doesn't reflect on my it reflects on her. And I think you said it, your heart. If you're actually, you guys, duplicating just because you want to get to the top fast, yeah, that is spammy. People will call you out on that. But if you want to help your friends get their products paid for and your heart's from a good place, if they get mad, that's okay. And if you plan yourself for the worst case scenario and say, worst case scenario, they actually might not like me, and you're okay with that, you don't need them anyways. Like we learned in Vegas, we have so many friends on our team. If people don't want to come to the table with us, that's okay. So we have to know that that could happen, and we have to remove the drama and know that out of 10 people we ask that say no, one might have that reaction. Everyone else will say, oh, thanks for thinking of me. That's so sweet. I'm just not interested, and it's totally okay. All right. So I think we're going to close there. Sorry, we didn't like practice this well. So we don't know what we're doing. But thank you so much, you guys. We hope you learned something about the mindset behind duplication. If you have any other problems, questions, concerns, again, we've all had all the thoughts. Pop them in the chat and let's chat about this so that we can continue to duplicate together. Have a happy Tuesday.